What's going on, guys? Welcome to the latest episode of Tables, Ladders, and Sean, and this is the Smackdown Rebound. Yes, I came up with a stupid name that I'm sure a million other wrestling channels use. The Smackdown review for September 18th of 2020. Yes, I will be reviewing WWE programming. I just kind of prefer watching AEW, but I love all of professional wrestling. So let's start off with this show. It starts out with the dirt sheet with Miz and Morrison. I honestly really enjoy them as a team, but I really feel like Morrison deserves better. He should be in the upper mid card, maybe even, you know, in the main event scene, messing around with that. It's kind of a shame to see him come back to the WWE and just get put into this situation. But basically they're talking about how Mandy Rose is now moved to SmackDown. Miz says that he sent Mandy away so that Otis can focus on the Money in the Bank cash in. Otis then interrupts them as they are in the ring and attacks both Miz and Morrison. Tucker catches them both trying to escape, and Otis just really wrecked them both. Otis did a caterpillar, which, I don't know, I think that's kind of dumb to do it when they're doing an attack, but he did follow it up with a nice Vader bomb to at least make it make more sense. Otis then came back and stripped Miz into his tighty whities. Yes, I'm being serious. I'm sure Vince McMahon had a good cackle at that because, you know, underwear funny. Backstage, Miz talked to someone on the phone and asked if it was enough. I guess they're working with someone to get Otis confused, but I'm not quite sure who it is. Our first matchup of the night is Gran Metalik versus Cesaro, whose green intro is just crazy and it looks so good in the Thunderdome. Now, considering that these two are very talented individuals and Cesaro works great with smaller guys, this match was pretty fun. The rest of the Lucha House Party was by the ringside, and for some reason they got on the ring apron and started arguing with each other, and then the ref kicked them out. I guess they're sort of teasing a split, while Shinsuke Nakamura was allowed to stay ringside because, well, he was just chilling. Metalik hit a very nice Hurricane Rana where Cesaro was sitting on the ropes and Metalik was on the top ring post. Looked really cool. The finish of the match saw Cesaro reverse a moonsault with boots to the face and a neutralizer to end the match. Jey Uso is interviewed next because him and Roman are facing Corbin and Sheamus in a Samoan street fight in the main event. Of course, Jey Uso is fighting Roman at the upcoming Clash of the Champions pay-per-view, but they are teaming up tonight, which is kind of weird, essentially, because, you know, Roman, he's sort of heelish. I guess he's not full-blown heel quite yet, but it does sort of add an interesting dynamic into this match. Matt Riddle then gets a little promo breakdown on how the word bro works in any situation, and honestly, I like this. It got a chuckle out of me. I am a Matt Riddle fan. I think he's super talented, and I hope they just strap a rocket to him at some point in time. Next up, we had Alexa Bliss hosting a Moment of Bliss with Nikki Cross. Nikki says she's going to beat Bayley at Clash of the Champions, blah, blah, blah. A very serious promo from Nikki, and I really don't like when she gets all serious because I think she's better as sort of that crazy, zany person. I think it fits her personality a bit more. Nikki then turns the interview around and asks Alexa what's up with her hitting her with the Sister Abigail last week and then walking away in a weird trance. Alexa says she doesn't quite know how to explain it because she doesn't understand it before getting cut off by Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans then trash talks Nikki, says that she will never beat Bayley. Nikki then takes her handkerchief and blows boogers into it. Yes, we have tidy whiteys and we have boogers. I'm sure Vince is just thinking this is the funniest shit ever, but yeah, you know, it's obviously a little bit lowbrow. Then it segments into a match between Lacey and Nikki. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this match pretty much bored me to tears. Also, my KFC arrived around this time, so I was enjoying a delicious pot pie. Now, I do think Lacey has been improving in the ring, and I usually like Nikki's sort of pit bull style, but this match just felt very poorly paced, which I blame more on the booking agent who booked it rather than the performers themselves. There was lots of rest holds in this match. Lacey dominated pretty much the whole match, which is weird considering you're pushing Nikki into this title match with Bayley upcoming at your next pay-per-view. Lacey puts hand sanitizer into Nikki's face, which somehow didn't blind her, and Nikki ended up winning the match. Lacey then starts yelling at Alexa after the match, who was on commentary, says something about the Fiend, yes, utters the phrase the Fiend, and Alexa went into her weird trance again and gives a Sister Abigail to Lacey. It seems like that trigger is going to be whenever somebody says the Fiend. I think Alexa actually pulls this role off very nicely. She should look into like Hollywood roles for, you know, horror movies and stuff like that, because I think she would play a good role in that sort of thing. Next up, there was a nice little package for various wrestling families highlighting the Samoan family, where they actually acknowledged Yokozuna as being a Samoan and not being from Japan. It only took, a couple decades for that to happen. They even showed old pictures of baby Roman with Hogan and Savage, which I thought was a nice little touch. The segment was actually narrated by Paul Heyman to hype up the Clash of the Champions match between Roman and Jay, and it actually sort of gave the match a big match feel, even though, let's be realistic, Jey Uso doesn't have a chance in hell of winning this. A Sasha Banks interview was up next, and honestly, I'm not really feeling her trying to be a face right now, as it just feels very forced. I think they're trying to go with like the Shawn Michaels thing, where Sid turned his back on him and then gave him all those power bombs to sort of make Shawn Michaels a face, but it just feels weird considering, well, just how, for lack of a better term, how much of a bitch that Sasha and Bayley were towards the entire women's division for such a long time. She says that one day she will take the belt from Bayley. Bayley then attacked her and ripped off her neck brace that Sasha was wearing. I'm not really a huge Bayley fan, but she saved the segment and she really looked ruthless during this segment, so I thought that was cool. I really feel like they should have written Sasha off TV for, more than just a week or two. Like, make it a couple months. Maybe even have her come back at the Royal Rumble. She wins the Royal Rumble, and then you set up the Bayley and Sasha package for WrestleMania. I think that would have flowed a lot better, made a lot more sense. It just feels like they're sort of rushing this. AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn is up next, with implications for the IC title scene. Now, of course, Sami hasn't wrestled in 6 months, so this should be a great and fresh matchup. Sami does need to look at getting a haircut, though. He looks kind of weird and haggard with his long hair. There was a very nice spot in the match where Sami goes for a haluva kick on the ring apron. Styles moves, clotheslines him to the floor, and then hits a nice catapult flying forearm to the outside. There was a lot of good back and forth action throughout this match without one person really being able to get the advantage over the other person, and I really felt like it sort of made me more invested in this match. Although they screwed it up with the finish of the match, because the finish was completely lame, with Sami was basically arguing with the ref. Styles rolls up Sami from behind, held the tights for the 1-2-3. Jeff Hardy then comes out and takes out AJ and Sami Zayn. Hardy hits Styles with a ladder in the stomach, sets up a ladder to attack Sami, but Sami escapes. Hardy then grabs the mic and says that Clash of the Champions, it'll be a triple threat ladder match to see who the real Intercontinental Champion is. Honestly, that should be a banger of a match. Yes, Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles are a bit older, but I think when you put a stipulation in there, I think they're definitely going to bring their A game, and I think that'll be an absolute show stealer for Clash of the Champions. Next up, backstage, Otis receives papers that he has been served with a lawsuit. Miz and Morrison are suing him for emotional distress, destruction of property, among other things. They essentially want Otis to forfeit the Money in the Bank contract, or they're taking that shit to trial, bitch. That's a Mr. Big reference. You really need to know that song. That was one of my hood songs back in high school. Big E then lures Sheamus out into the parking lot area, and a security guard tries to stop it, and Sheamus escapes. The security guard then got absolutely dismantled by Big E. Big E actually gave the security guard a belly-to-belly suplex through the windshield of a car, and then stuffed him in the trunk of that car. Like, Big E looked absolutely gangster doing this. I really like this aggressive style and angry style of his, as opposed to just being, a happy-go-lucky face. Like, I get it, it works into the whole New Day aesthetic, but now that, all of your New Day partners are sidelined right now with injuries, it's time to make Big E a star, and I like this angry and aggressive side of him, and if this is the future of Big E, I am on board with this. I love seeing, big hosses that are just angry and just rip people apart. That's one of the reasons I really like Will Hobbs in AEW right now. I think Will Hobbs is an absolutely fantastic talent. He looks great, amazing looking spine buster, and I think Big E, is essentially a polished version of Will Hobbs. Will Hobbs should be studying Big E tapes to learn a Big E style, because I really see a lot of similarities between those two guys, and I think the future is very bright for both of them. Now we are at the main event with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns teaming up against Sheamus and King Corbin in a Samoan street fight, and honestly, this was a very good, hard-hitting street fight between these two teams. Corbin and Sheamus set up a table in the ring, and Jey Uso actually got a double powerbomb through the table, but Uso did kick out at 2. Roman Reigns then sort of hucks one of the announcers' chairs and hits Corbin right in the face, which I thought was pretty funny. Sheamus comes out and attacks Reigns and clears off the announcer's table. Roman ends up hitting a Samoan drop onto the table, but the table doesn't budge. I am the table. You guys got to do something. Make him a more breakaway sort of thing. Obviously, that was a running thing for the WWE for a while, where it seemed like you could sneeze and break the announcer's table, but it seems like they're just waiting way too stiff nowadays. Reigns then speared Sheamus through the barricade in a classic Roman Reigns spot. Uso hits Baron Corbin with the belt. Reigns follows it up with a big spear, and Uso hits a splash off of the top for the 3 count. Really an enjoyable match with a nice pace. It went about 12 minutes or so, but I thought everything was good. There was really no sort of downtime or any boring moments in the match. These guys just really just beat the crap out of each other for that full 12 minutes. Jay and Roman then embrace in the ring, and then Jay walks away going up the ramp, and Roman just goes from his smile to his weird angry face. I guess he's trying to lure Jay into a false sense of security for their upcoming match. Maybe he's just going to try to absolutely dismantle him, you know, getting rid of the whole sort of family aspect that is being heavily promoted throughout this matchup. So overall, a very solid episode of SmackDown. I personally like SmackDown a lot more than Raw. I think the 2 hours is way more digestible. They're able to do much more stuff in it. I might not personally agree with some of the story segments that we got. Like I said, you know, Sasha needs to be off TV for longer. I like Nikki as more sort of a crazy person. I thought her and Lacey's match was definitely sort of bogged down, but overall I thought the show was very solid. They're doing a good job of setting up the Clash of the Champions pay-per-view for the SmackDown side of things, and just a very solid show. Nothing too spectacular or anything like that, but the in-ring action was good. The storyline, whether I agree with them or not, they did sort of make sense to progress these stories. So, you know, solid episode overall. All right, so those are my thoughts on SmackDown for September 18th on the SmackDown Rebound. Let me know in the comment section down below if you enjoyed this episode of SmackDown. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Make sure you guys check out other videos on the channel. Yes, I have some more long-term content coming, but like I said, I want to review these shows for you guys. I'm taking down these notes for a reason, because I want to review the shows. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Have a good one.